Hi everyone, welcome back. So, Dragon44 here. I hope you're having a great day so far. So basically, this video is about a plat tournament that we did not too long ago. Now, before I get into it, of course, I do want to say that I'm going to be giving the Interstellar Sky Blue away at 250 subscribers. So, all you need to do is drop a sub if you haven't, of course, already. Turn notifications on, leave a like on the video, and just drop a comment below with your user ID on there so that we can get that all sorted once a winner is picked. Now, once I hit 250 subscribers, then what I'll do is I'll use a number generator, just like I did with the Striker Stipplegate, and then a lucky winner will be chosen, and of course, you'll be able to go from there. As you can see though, you can just choose lots of different colours. It's a really beautiful decal, and you can either keep it or sell it, of course. You kind of got a bit of a choice. Right, well, before I get into the content then, basically this is all about sort of like a tournament. Now, yesterday's video was all about goalkeeping and just sort of showing how that can help, and this is kind of like to sort of highlight kind of how it helped, although I have to say that JHD and KY Rich played extremely well, and we were well coordinated as a team, even though I actually wasn't on mic from a certain point, which is quite ironic really, because we seem to do it slightly better. Now, this clip is taken from the first game in the semi-final. It was a tight old game. It went on to 0 seconds, and JHD scored an absolute beautiful goal to take the first game. What a great result. And you can see we called ourselves 007 because it was just easier to type in. So with the second game then, obviously this one was a little bit of a different affair. You know, the teams do tend to try a little bit harder once they've lost a game, and it can really go either way. And sometimes just making those judgments is, sitting back. It is hard for me because I am a more of attacking player. I do usually like to push, try and score goals and things like that. So this is a bit of a different role. But, to be fair, like with GHD and KY Rich in attack, I do really think that it works pretty well because, we've been caught so many times on counter-attack when we playing casual and there was no one in goal. And what we find is that this is an effective way of doing it. Yes, it could be considered a little bit of a boring way to play, but if you want to get further, you want to get credits, you want to actually win stuff, then of course it seems a really, really, really good idea. And I nearly scored a goal then, which was disappointing. I would have liked to have scored one. But, sometimes as goalkeeper, you can't really expect to score goals. All you got to do is just sit back and be ready for those times when you need to react. And sometimes you do need to react. And the thing is that what made this probably a little bit harder is that in the semis and the final, JHD and KY Rich were on mic to an extent, but I wasn't because I was on the phone, so they couldn't communicate with me except by using chat. So I had to kind of just make the judgments myself sometimes as to whether to go for the ball or whether to stay back. They're very good at defending, the two of them, so I'm very lucky because of course it's not like I'm carrying them. It is very much like a good squad and a well organised team. And as you can see, JHD scores yet another great goal, great flick from KY Rich. They didn't do anything about it. I mean, they could have reacted better, to be honest, but we'll take it. It's a goal, So sometimes you do get that where, I don't know, the teams are very funny. Like, we've come into tournaments and the teams have been absolutely mental. A lot of teams in Plat, I have noticed, really sit back and defend, and they do that in comp as well. So a lot of the time what they'll do is that they'll sit back, they'll just defend all three on the net or on the line, and then they'll counter push to try and, of course, score a goal. Bit of a boring way of playing, if I'm truthful, especially with all three sitting there. One back, not so bad, makes kind of some sense, but all three just seems borderline ridiculous. But this day was meant to be. I mean, funnily enough, we'd only just won a Plat tournament, literally sort of like about 4 days previous for season 2. So it's quite funny really to sort of think that we had actually won one only 4 days before. We were happy about getting season 2 because we didn't expect to get it, and then 4 days later this kind of happened, and it was kind of crazy. But the reason for the video, I mean, obviously, you can sort of see to a degree what's happening. They are going for shots, they're trying to score goals, which of course they just successfully have, and you get to see the replay. But there are times when I had to make some very clutch saves, and I have to say that the training packs and things, they really did help. And that was something I did a video about last night. I know it was a bit later than my normal videos, a slight delay again, unfortunately, just always the way. But if you haven't looked and you're not sure what a training pack is or how to use it, definitely check that video out. I'll link it in the description as well, because again, they are an advantageous sort of thing to use. There's lots of different ones for all different levels, be it you beginner, intermediate, high level, whatever. And also, there's just lots and lots of different routes to go. Striker, there's like defending, there's like air dribbles, all the sort of things that you want to do. And it is a really good way of learning and a really good way of improving your gameplay. Because honestly, you know, I would say that there is definitely things that you can always improve on. I mean, like one of mine is the double jump. I think that is probably my biggest thing at the moment. I can do it, but I don't do it very often or enough. And I should, especially as a goalkeeper, I should be getting up to those high balls and acting just a little bit quicker sometimes. Sometimes my reactions and my responses are really good, and I'm happy about that. But then other times I just can't quite get to the ball quick enough. Someone beats me out and they score a goal, and it's very frustrating sometimes just to, you know, be defending quite well or playing quite well as a goalkeeper, and then to make one really stupid error. I'm not gonna lie, I mean, sometimes there were some good sort of like elements. Sometimes there was slightly a bit of a communication lax because we weren't on mic. But however, and sometimes you don't even get a save for actually hitting the ball out of the nets. It's kind of frustrating because, you know, sometimes you feel like you're doing a lot better and then you just don't get anything for it because, like anything. But this one was good though. I actually managed to save it. Probably could have got it a bit further, got bumped into by JHD, but that was just unfortunate. But this was pretty much to get us through the semis. And to be honest, we were quite comfortable. I don't think there was really too much threat. I don't think there was ever sort of like a feeling where we weren't going to win. JHD scores another goal, great pass by KY Rich, just nicks the ball off him. He just, I don't know what he was doing, to be honest, flicks it over. Keeper should have done better, to be honest, but JHD was just there and knocks it into the net, and they concede, they forfeit, so it was absolutely brilliant. Now, the finals was a bit different, so basically this one is just a short little highlight. We beat them 4-1, pretty much just didn't have really any troubles at all, absolutely destroyed them, and yeah, there wasn't much to really kind of for me to do, to be honest. I think I had about 40 points or something like that. There wasn't a lot for me to do. But there was a lot more in the second and the last game, and that's kind of what we're going to be getting into. So basically, with this one, pretty much from the start, you know, they were a team that wanted to, of course, you know, get back into it. They were much hungrier, I think. They were a bit more aggressive, which is kind of good. But you know, there were some moments where it was definitely very tough. And it was a weird match as well, because funnily enough, we eventually do go on to lose this one, which is a bit disappointing, especially in the manner that it was done. And this is kind of like after all the defending we did, kind of like after all the sort of good team play. Maybe not that so much. I should have got the ball maybe a little higher. I think we were quite lucky to not concede there. Ball rolled past me, and it was a bit of a tight affair, but it was a great block by either JHD or Rich as well. So, you know, we literally kind of just, you know, kept it all intact, and there was some really good team play generally, which is nice, you know. And when we're playing on form, I have to say that it is literally the best feeling ever, because when all three of us are playing good, we're unstoppable. But, you know, the problem is that inconsistencies come in. I am a very inconsistent player at times, and I can make mistakes. You know, I've said it before, I can play really well, but I can also play quite terrible as well. And when I play terrible, I mean absolutely the worst ever, like I've never played the game before. So, you know, there's things that we can always improve on. I mean, we all do get it, but I think that is probably the hardest part, being consistent. You know, and especially sitting back at being goalkeeper in a tournament, you've got to try and keep your concentration up, because, you know, there are times when there's nothing happening, and then you've got to make a decision to kind of, you know, just pretty much go for it, get out there, hit the ball, and then come back to goal. And sometimes, you know, yes, you could push. It's a bit easier if, obviously, you're on mic and you can say, right, I'm pushing up, and someone else can rotate back in goal. JHD is probably a much better goalkeeper, actually, KY Rich is as well, but they're so good in attack that it makes sense. And actually, with a lot of practice and with a lot of, like, kind of, you know, things, I think I have definitely improved in my judgment to a degree. But you know, there's always ways to get better, and that's why these training packs are so good. And just, you know, kind of just keeping an eye on the ball, getting that save, blocking that ball when it could be dangerous, and just then going back to goal and keeping all kind of like calm with it, and just calculated as best as you can. You know, being kind of just a bit more of a player that's not going to suddenly panic, don't make any rash mistakes. It is easy to say, of course. I mean, this does happen, but it was a really good result. Now, what I do plan to do in tomorrow's video, ideally as long as it all gets posted, is actually start doing a weekly tournament opening video as well. So it'll be like me opening the packs from the credits I've gained in the week. I gained about 25,000 this week, I think it was. So quite a few sort of cups to open. I've gone with just prospects. I do feel that prospects over challenges is a better choice. Sometimes you're gonna get garbage, okay, admittedly, but realistically you can kind of just open them up, see if you get lucky, and it's mainly sort of like trade ups and things like that as well. So just pretty much a kind of an extent, and this is where unluckily I scored an own goal. Yeah, so this was kind of really gutting, if I'm being honest. We'd played pretty well defensively. I think we'd been solid, and this was actually a very routine save, and I don't know how it flicked off to the wrong side and went in. I've got no idea. I honestly was so gutted over this. But sometimes being fired up, it can help. I think that sometimes you play better. And in the last game, we kind of then turned it around, which was really, really nice. But yeah, I mean, going back to the tournament packs, I mean, basically, sort of going to be opening them up tomorrow. Pretty much going to sort of talk through them, what I got, some trade-ups. I think I do a couple of trade-ups as well. So just a nice little thing just to kind of add, and I'm going to be doing that weekly as well, just pretty much just to kind of make it a bit different. I know we could wait until the end, I could do like one big opening, but to be honest, I quite like the idea of opening them every week just to sort of see what kind of things I get. Prospects are very variable. Unfortunately, you're always going to get some pretty much garbage, I suppose, and then maybe a couple of things. I think that I mean, like, I'm hoping for a black market sooner rather than later. I like the new trade system, the way they've done it, that you can use old and new now, so you can get rid of things that were sitting there doing absolutely nothing. And I have to be honest that the black markets, the exotics, and a couple of other things like shark attack as a sort of very rare trail are pretty good as well. So I definitely think that these are things that I do like and really want to sort of like see painted ideally. JHD got a black sort of shark attack trail, looks really cool from what I've heard. So just really, really nice. But yeah, I mean, like as I say, I mean, regardless to the tournament, it had been definitely a very, very tough sort of match. Unfortunately, I pushed up in this game, tried to kind of close it out. Sad to say, we just couldn't get that equalising goal. We lost the round, and it goes into the final round for the final. It really is quite intense. I think like when you get to a final, it is pretty much sort of one of those things where it's a lot of concentration. It's quite a long time playing. It is very, very difficult to kind of maintain that level of focus and sort of reaction time. I mean, especially sort of sat back kind of in goal, defending a lot. It is quite hard to maintain the sort of level of concentration. However, we did sort of like have a much better third game, and to be honest, it really was quite a kind of just a turnaround for us to sort of like actually kind of take that loss, say okay, it happens, and maintain it and sort of like say, right, okay, let's push, let's do really well. And like I said, I mean, like JHD and sort of Kiwi Rich up in attack, they're very, very good at that. Lots and lots of like skillful little flicks, lots of little dodges, lots of little things going on, and yeah, you have to just love it really. It's one of those things where you sort of like playing with good players, it does make such a big difference in that regard. But I mean, like with these sort of tournaments, I mean, like this week so far, I mean, I know we haven't had sort of like so many matches so far, but it's been rough, and we have sort of like really kind of just struggle to sometimes get past the first round. Often we get eliminated it kind of like early on, just because sometimes it's the luckiest goals ever that kind of happen, and it's so frustrating because sometimes you are truly the better team and you just lose to a team that's far worse, and it's like one of those things with tournaments. Now I know all of you don't play tournaments, I know some of you do, some of you don't. I like the exclusives. I mean, I think that there is sometimes cosmetics wise there are things that I do plan to use kind of overall. There's a couple of things I'm actually honestly gutted I didn't get. I mean, I didn't do tournaments in season 1 really, neither did JHD. and we missed out on the riser decal. I know not everyone likes that, but I thought it was actually a pretty nice one. And I do think that, like, you know, the Hades bomb painted would have been really nice. Unfortunately, I didn't get that. I got a Nurgle unpainted, so it's like, yay, great, thanks game. Gotta love it. So I'm hoping for a bit more luck this time round. I do feel that there are lots of good things that I can win, and I want to see that as soon as possible, just to, you know, kind of like pretty much just put it there. And the wheels, I think, are quite nice. I imagine painted would look really sick. I have seen Saffron so far. They look really nice. The sort of chain helm, exotic, whatever. They seem pretty cool. There is a couple of others that look nice. I mean, I think the sort of gold explosion exotic looks good. I can't remember the name off the sort of like top of my head. And then of course like Discoid and Atomic Blip look really cool. And I imagine painted they're gonna look sick as. So, you know, I just kind of want that sort of thing. I pretty much play the tournaments pretty much for the reason of the cosmetics. I mean, I don't play it for the fun of it, I can tell you, because I'm not being funny, but the stress of a tournament, whew, it's quite something, especially when you get into a final of a plat tournament. I know it's not the highest, and to be honest, you know, JHD and KW Rich, they should be in diamond at least. Me, yeah, I'm a plat player, but I don't really play much ranked unless I'm playing with them, so I'm not really surprised that I'm at that level. If I could play my absolute best, I could probably be low diamond maybe, but to be honest, I'm just so inconsistent. I think that's probably where I need to improve on. And, you know, these are things that, why I use those training packs that I mentioned in the previous video. They are very, very useful. And honestly, you know, just little things like that, they can just improve you as a player. And, you know, I think that, you know, there's so many mechanics in Rocket League. I do think that that is it. And judgment sometimes, I mean, it is really hard. I mean, when you're sitting back in goal, not only have you got to maintain your focus, you've also got to maintain your concentration, you've got to, like, be on the ball, you've got to have quick reactions, and it's tough. And you can sort of see, I mean, you know, obviously GHD and KO, which have played the game a fair amount as well, their reactions are usually pretty sharp. Sometimes they do have bad days, like we all do, but most of the time they're pretty consistent players, and I think that is where it all boils down to, consistency. With me, I'm not as consistent as they are. I can sometimes have my sort of day where I'm really good, and then other days where I'm just not, and that's probably the hardest part, but they understand a lot more mechanics than I do as well, just because, you know, I guess they practiced it and spent a lot of time learning it. And yeah, these are things that I'm going to improve on. I'm going to actually go into the training and kind of like learn a lot more. And I'm going to do, well, I did say I'm going to do a series where I do actually do it, where I use just bull cam and see how dreadfully awful that is. But however, I don't mind. You know, I'm quite open to you know, showing myself up and being awful. I don't really care. But it's one of those things. Anyway, needless to say, they did quit, and we actually won a Platinum tournament for Season 3. So it was pretty fantastic. It was a pretty intense game, and it was very nice to be, of course, the winners. So I hope you enjoyed the footage. I hope you enjoyed what I was talking about. If you did, of course, drop a like, subscribe if you want to be kept up to date with future content. But otherwise, I shall see you in the next video. But until then, you take care. Bye-bye.